So, helluva. I've talked a little bit about this show in some of my previous videos, and bashed it a bit because I didn't really like the direction Season 2 was going at the time. However, after the most recent 2 episodes, I've grown way more fond for where the season is going. So today, I just want to talk about the most recent and probably my favorite episode of the season, Apology Tour, as it and its predecessor Full Moon have had some pretty intense discourse, and mainly mass complaining. So I kind of just wanted to present some of the problems people have with Apology Tour and kind of give my take on them and what the show can do and may even be setting up in order to actually tackle its current issues. So basically the main complaint is that Stolas' issues aren't focused on enough, and the episode victimizes him to spin the narrative and antagonize Blitz, even though Stolas is a massive hypocrite because he's done all the things he says he's never done. And that isn't really wrong. And I'm not here to say that the episode is perfect or anything, because I do think it focuses on Blitz's actions way more than Stolas', and it probably should have identified what Stolas did a little bit more. But I also see a route that it looks like the writers are taking that may solve both of these issues with time. First, looking at what we have now, we do see a lot of Stolas being a hypocrite, and it not being directly addressed. Case in point.
I don't look down on you. How many times do I? When have I ever? Where you are so cute when you are serious. It's quite thrilling to see you on the job, Blitzy. This is a really bad time. When isn't it a bad time, Blitzy? Team Blitzy? And it isn't supposed to be lent out to itty-bitty imps like yourself. King's tiny wrath-ring imps. My impish little plaything. Sorry, it's a bad time yet again, Blitzy, but
it's a life for a thrust! Now that's the spirit of love!
Yeah, so it's no secret that if you go back for like 5 minutes, you can pinpoint all the hundreds of moments where Stolas belittles Blitz. But in this argument, the story kind of seems to side with Stolas, making Blitz out to be the bad guy, setting him up for this apology tour that he goes on for the rest of the episode. Or more at the beginning of the episode.
Such a bad bitch!
This isn't the only time this happens, as this aspect of the argument goes a similar way to that in Full Moon, where Stolas says this.
I have wanted you for so long. The fact that you couldn't believe that I might have these feelings about you, that your first instinct is that it's always about sex.
And then to that, Blitz ends up feeling like he fucked up, despite the thing that Stolas just said being wrong. Every interaction seems to villainize Blitz, despite Stolas being just as much to blame for their errors in communication and just general fights and misunderstandings. Now, a lot of people are calling this lazy writing, and I get that, and I would probably agree if there wasn't some, I think, sufficient evidence pointing to the fact that, no, this is intentional. And while helluva has been inconsistent in the past about smaller details, something as big as the main character conflicts between the two main characters is something I think they would pay attention to. First off, I want to look at some of the lines in Apology Tour that do actually address what Stolas did, which there were some, mainly in his song, All To You. Fucking banger, by the way. But past the halfway mark, Stolas questions again if he really is to blame, saying, literally,
but maybe it's all on me for missing every sign and every glance and every turn.
However, after he says that, Verosika and Vortex both stomp on those thoughts, intervening to say,
No, he's a motherfucker.
And then, this same thing happens again.
Maybe there's something here for us to glean, for you to teach and me to try to learn.
No, he's a motherfucker.
And so we see here that Stolas is beginning to question if there actually is something that he isn't seeing. But since he's at the Blitzo Sucks party, of course no one there is going to let him take any blame for the situation. And we see by the end of the song that Stolas fully transitions into blaming Blitz for what went wrong. And adding on to this, we have Sam Haft, the lead songwriter on the show, and the producer of All To You. Sam didn't write this song, he's written, like, basically nearly everything else. This is one of the 2 songs he, I think, has not written. But knowing how far in the future songs and dialogue are written, I feel confident that he chooses his words carefully to go accordingly with how the rest of the story is going to go, while being kind of vague enough to not give away too much. Here's what Sam says about the ending of the song, and Stolas' development.
Where by the end of the song, Stolas is very audibly near tears as he finally succumbs to blaming Blitz.
Succumb. an interesting choice. He could have said that he chooses to blame Blitz, but he uses a word with a way more negative connotation. I think this definitely illustrates that Stolas is going against what is right pretty well, and I mean, it's the lead songwriter. You know that Stolas doesn't really know the effects of what he does. He first realizes the issues with the deal between him and Blitz itself, but now he needs to look back on himself to see what he never could before. That was worded really stupidly. Plus, Vivian Medrano herself criticized Stolas' behavior, so yeah. Now, despite this, I don't think this issue will be solved by the end of Season 2. Viv also made sure to let people know that there's plenty of show left, which is very much true, as by the end of Season 2 we will be halfway done, as Helluva Boss is going to have 4 seasons. Looking at the trailer for the rest of Season 2, in what is most likely the finale, Blitz and Stolas kind of somehow end up back together in some way, with Blitz risking his life to help Stolas when he's attacked by this ice guy, I forget his name, I don't fucking... And so I'm going to do a bit of speculation here, but if I were to guess, Blitz goes on his journey of healing through Season 3, where he learns that he isn't entirely to blame for everything that went wrong back in Season 2. As where he is now, he basically thinks that he's the root of all evil in the entire world, which he did kind of think before, but not as much for what's going on between him and Stolas. And Stolas is probably going to have to face that he hasn't fully grown out of his old habits. And again, this is just a guess based on what we have now, but I don't know, I think there's a chance this could happen. We've seen Stolas do this in the past, and I mean, it's kind of his key character piece that he needs to grow out of. I think a big part of why people, including myself, are so often disappointed with the direction these episodes go is because they don't always directly tie into each other, and even when they do, it doesn't always feel like it because of the amount of time between releases, which I think the show was not designed to take account of. Every time there's a hiatus, the views get cut in half, which is probably why they started doing shorts. So I think that just maybe, given enough time, these aspects will be touched on. But I don't know, I might just be crazy. Let me know if this makes sense. I want to look more into this show in the future, but I think this is a good starting point, and I'm very interested to see if any of this comes true, and even if it doesn't, just the direction things go in the future. But yeah, video over, bye.
Ah, he's so small. Can we ride him when he's that small? We can, look.